Oh, I'm live. I apologize. I didn't realize I clicked the live button. Grand rising, grand rising. Thank you all of you for being here. I was looking for the music button. I guess we will play no music on this solemn day in America. If you guys did not realize, 4547 has announced that he is possibly about to end a whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. I don't want that to happen, but it probably will. However, now that we have complete and total regime change, he can't tell you who is the new regime, however, where different, smarter, and less radicalized minds prevail, maybe something revolutionarily wonderful can happen. Who knows? We will find out tonight. One of the most important moments in the long and complex history of the world. 47 years of extortion, corruption, and death will finally end. God bless the great people of Iran. So, are you or aren't you going to harm the Iranian people? Is he or isn't he going to strike the Iranian people? So he's telling you that they have a more reasonable, smart regime in place. However, he cannot tell you that he's not going to obliterate this great civilization. To eliminate a civilization means that you are going to genocide a civilization of people. To announce a genocide, much less complete a genocide, is a war crime. I understand that most of us don't realize when war crimes are being committed because the world sat so silently by for years on end as Palestine was being genocide. And then when people finally woke up to the genocide, most of the Palestinian people had been already been eliminated. So I find it quite strange the quietness of everyone as 4547 has came out and said the most heinous things about what he is going to do to the Iranian people. Where is the rest of the United States government? Where is the rest of the equal branches of the United States government as they sit and they say nothing? As they sit and they say nothing, as they watch the United States, in my opinion, commit war crimes, as they watch the United States announce the intent to commit more war crimes, as they watch all of this nonsense that is being displayed in these press conferences that makes absolutely no sense. One sense doesn't coincide with the next thought. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? And do we think that us just sitting by being quiet is going to help us as Americans? Do we think that uh, this nation, this world is if these idiots have enough gumption to strike Iran with a nuclear weapon? Do you think that we are just going to be free as a bird? Nothing's going to happen to us. The world will go on as we know it. Our gas prices may be a little more expensive. You think that's what's going to happen as the world sit by silent? Now, is uh, the the European Union has came out and said they will not be a part of any of this. As a matter of fact, the UK has came out and said that the US cannot use any of its military bases to refuel, to land, to stop, to rest. They cannot use any of the UK's military facilities for anything regarding this war. Now, it seems like 45, 47 is quite tight about that. I don't understand why he's tight about that. He didn't consult them about going to this war. So 45, 47 is pissed off at the UK, but the UK said no. We will not have any part of this. France, Germany, it's France, Germany, the UK, several other nations. We'll get to all of that. Now, want to. I also want to show you a couple of more things. I think we discussed this on yesterday. Um, this is the negotiations that Trump is having. He's negotiating with himself. He cannot tell you who this new, smarter, more intelligent, more reasonable regime of this regime change is, as he gave a hard line uh, deadline for tomorrow, where he was going to make his next strike or whatever. And now, when he went live yesterday, he changed the deadline to today. He had changed yesterday's deadline from a 48-hour deadline to a 5-day deadline to a 10-day deadline, which would have ended on yesterday. And now, yesterday, he came out and said that the deadline is today. So it appears that 45, 47 is maybe choking a little bit. It seems like that Taco Trump. Uh, Trump always chicken out. It seems like Trump always is choking out on this issue about opening the Strait of Hormuz. Now, we understand that he already said that the Strait of Hormuz, he may just let the Europeans open it because we don't use any oil there. And then Sunday he comes back cursing and screaming that they better open it up or they're going to wind up in hell and praise be to Allah and all of this blasphemous stuff that he was speaking on Easter Day. So now where are we today? Where has all of this gotten us today? All of this has gotten us, if you are unaware. If you are unaware, um, this plane has been flying over Nebraska. If you are unfamiliar with what this plane is, this is the emergency response plane. Let me tell you what this airplane is. That is flying over Nebraska. That has been brushed off and is flying over Nebraska. I will let me share the screen with you so you can understand what plane is flying over Nebraska. Let's get into it. Oops, wrong. I don't want to bring anyone up. I want to share. Oh my goodness. Here we go. Let's see what that plane is that is flying over Nebraska. That should have you quite concerned because everything that we're doing is not just going to affect Iran and the Middle East. Do you think that China and Russia, who is helping Iran in the Middle East, isn't waiting for your a feeble-minded president and his unexperienced head of the Department of Defense to exhaust all of our weaponry in a ill-advised, unadvised, illegal war? And do you not think that the dollar has been devalued, unvalued, as different nations have agreed with Iran and has agreed to pay them in the Chinese yuan to get through the Strait of Hormuz. Now, what does that do to the American dollar? Because all oil is sold on the dollar standard. So if people are starting to pay in the Chinese yuan, what does that do to the American dollar? See, if you have been over here at RonyiQ doing the news for the past 2 years, I have been telling you how the BRICS unions have been devaluing the U.S. Dollar. Slowly but surely. Because why? Because they trade in their own currency. That's why they have stopped stockpiling the U.S. dollar and has started stockpiling gold. Now, an interesting story has come out. Speaking of stockpiling gold, France was stockpiling gold, and they were stockpiling their gold in the U.S. banks. And then France decided to say, you know what, we're going to get our gold out of the U.S. banks, and we're going to put it in our own bank. And when France went to get their gold out of the U.S. banks under 45, 47, you know what happened? Their gold was not in the banks. Their gold was not there. They had to make a settlement with the U.S. To get the money back for the value of their gold. And when they went and they got more gold and put it in their France banks, they made something like 13.2 billion dollars. Did you know that? Is anybody telling you that? Is anybody telling you that these dollar bills, 25s, 10, 1s, 50s, 100 dollar bills that have Donald Trump's signature on will be as priceless as the signature that is going to be on them, as Trump is devaluing our standing in the world and our dollar and our currency? And it's just not his signature that is going to devalue our currency. It is what is going on in this war that is devaluing our currency. The fall of an empire. Go back through my videos. I don't have time to tell you things I have already gone through in my news programs. Things that affect you and how you live your life. Now, I have been talking about solar power generators. Do any of you have solar power generators? Are any of you supplied with solar batteries? Are any of you supplied with water? Are you stockpiled any food? Have you stockpiled any personal protection thing? Or are you going to go hands-on with people and think you're going to slap people around and beat them up and all of this stuff? Or are you protecting yourself with something that you can, protect yourself from a safe distance? Have you stocked up on anything? Have you? So you thought that this was just going to affect other people? You think that Iran is saying bring it on because it's just going to affect them and the people in the Middle East? Well, I feel sorry for you if that's how you feel. But let me share this with you. Shall I? Okay. American E-4B Doomsday plane takes to the skies as Trump weighs all-out strikes on Iran. Now, what is the Doomsday plane? What is the American E-4B Doomsday plane? Let me get. I think it's right here. It tells you. It tells you. Let me enlarge this. I apologize. Okay. The Doomsday plane. The E-4B Night Watch is what it's called. It is made by Boeing. Okay, and it gives you all the thrust and all the information. Endurance, 12. It can ride 12 hours, unrefueled, and they can refuel it mid-flight. So that is of no consequence that it can only fly 12 hours without being refueled, because they can refuel it as it's flying. Okay, so operated by the U.S. Air Force, the E-4B is a militarized version of the Boeing 747-200 and serves as a mobile command post designed to protect the President, Secretary of Defense, and other national security officials, ensuring the government can continue operating in the event of a what? Nuclear war. Okay. Are we clear on this? What they brushed off last night and took for a test drive in the in Nebraska. Let me get here. The aircraft movements are regularly monitored for flight trackers during high tension moments, with a flight last year garnering attention just days before the U.S. joined Israel in the 12-day war campaign to bomb Iran nuclear facilities. You notice that it came out around the time that the U.S. struck in Iran their nuclear facilities. That was allegedly the last time that it has been tracked as coming out. Now, with the nuclear facilities being obliterated, why do you think that they're bringing this doomsday plane out once again? Okay. Trump has now set a deadline for Tuesday for Iran to agree to his peace plan and open the Strait of Hormuz, or the U.S. will destroy the Islamic Republic power plants and bridges. The entire country can be taken out in one night, and that night might be tomorrow night, Trump told reporters at the White House on Monday. Um, the U.S. has a fleet of E-42Bs that make regular flights year-round to maintain military readiness, to make sure that they are flying properly. They do these test runs. But it's strange that they bought this out the night before it is expected that this madman, president of ours, is contemplating striking Iran with nuclear weapons. The Night Watch serves as an airborne command center for the President, Secretary of Defense, and chairs of the Joint Chief of Staff to ensure continued critical command, control, and communication in the case of emergency. With 18 bunks, a briefing room, teamwork area, conference room, command room, and designated uh, rest area spread across 3 decks, the aircraft is designed to be a flying pentagon in the event of not a national emergency. The plane is heavily modified to withstand nuclear blasts, cyber attacks, electromagnetic pulses, and other disasters that could threaten the U.S. But not the only the U.S. People who are in the plane. Each each E-4B Night Watch can carry a crew of up to 112 people and has a range of more than 7,000 miles. The aircraft also has thermal and nuclear shielding and can communicate with anyone anywhere in the world thanks to the 67 satellite dishes and antennas contained in its dome. So this is what. Hold on, let me tell you about it sneaking out last night. If you didn't hear about it sneaking, one of America's Doomsday planes was spotted circling above a key Nebraska Air Force base on Monday, just hours before President Trump's deadline for Iran to accept his peace deal is set to expire. The Boeing E-4B Night Watch, which was designed to protect national security officials and keep the government operating in a time of nuclear war, was spotted by flight trackers above the Offutt Air Force Base, home to the headquarters of the U.S. Strategic Command. The jet had taken off from Offutt at 10:17 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, circling around that area at least 6 times before landing back at the base, the Daily Mail has reported. Has your for-profit U.S. media reported that to you guys? I'm curious. Let me drop the link to this. It will be in my description box. It will be, since this is the first link I am sharing, it will be link number 1. And we're going to move on to other things that we're going to talk about this morning real quick, because the time will allegedly be up at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Iran to accept the deal that 45-47 has given them. I don't even know what the deal is, because every other day, no, every other minute, uh, everything that this administration says changes, contradicts itself, makes no sense. So do with that as you will. But Iran has already given their answer. Let's go to Iran answer. They said no. They said no. They said, we have already given you the conditions of we're not agreeing to a temporary ceasefire, Iran said. We are agreeing to all strikes on our country and our affiliates to stop, like Yemen, like, where are they? Lebanon. We want all strikes to stop and never to come back to our country attacking us again. We do not agree to a 45-day ceasefire to allow you to build up your munitions and come strike us again. No, they said this shit is over and done. No. Because we didn't do anything to get struck in the first place. No, the only condition is this condition. Take your shit, go home, and do not come back. And you will pay us in reparations by allowing us to collect fees for these ships that we allow to come through the Strait of Hormuz, with the understanding that every ship that comes through the Strait of Hormuz is going to be taxed, but to repay us to rebuild our nation that you destroyed, including your ships, including ships that are going to your region. Yes, they will all be taxed for us to get our reparations for the destruction you have caused for no reason that you have been able to tell your people that you came to our country and destroyed all of the things that you have destroyed in our country. The lives we cannot get back, but we definitely want our infrastructure back. So this is what Iran has said to as far as uh, the negotiations or whatever he thinks he's doing. They was like, oh no, we're not gonna pretend like we are even in no negotiation. What we are saying is this is what it is. This is what it is. Okay. Am I live? Am I live? Nobody has anything to say? Y'all just listening? Okay, well, I'm glad you're here listening. Please hit the like button. Please hit the like button. So let me share some more information with you. I appreciate you guys being here. I am just here to give you information. If you find any information new that you are unaware of, you are more than welcome. More than welcome to help me reach my goals. My goals are always to give you information that you may not have heard, because we do understand our for-profit media is keeping a whole lot of information from the American people. Why? Why? Because our for-profit media has been allowed to be purchased up in large measures by is people who are uh, indebted, endowed, enshrined in love with Israel, and will not allow anything that criticize the things that Israel does that puts other people in danger. Let's put it that way. Not Jewish people, but the state of Israel and its military and its political figures. Uh, a lot of stuff is censored in our American media because they will not touch certain topics. So let me share something interesting that I did here on yesterday. Uh, now, we know that the first thing that the Nazis did was they tried to dehumanize the Jewish people. They called them vermin and things like that. That is the quickest tactic to have the rest of the world not have sympathy. Why do you think they call people, black people, monsters? It dehumanized them. And so when you look at the brutality that these people have to endure at the hand of these people who thinks that they are something different, they are something unhuman, you sit up and you don't say anything. You let it slide by because you let it permeate your mind that you are better, that you are more supreme than other people. And these other people, we don't even look at certain people as people. That's why they use this rhetoric. So I want to remind you that while children were out there rolling and looking for their Easter egg, what your president had to say about the Iranian people. People.
One thing, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. Had we not broken the Barack Hussein Obama agreement, you know what I'm talking about, the Iran nuclear deal. This is years ago, my first term. You would have had a total. Israel would have been gone, extinguished. Israel would have been wiped off the face of the earth, and the entire Middle East would have been, at a minimum, in big trouble. But I did it. That was phase one. We killed Soleimani. Without Soleimani, if they had Soleimani, it would be a whole different thing. Maybe. Would still be winning, but it would have been harder. Because we are obliterating that country. And I hate to do it, but we're obliterating, and they just don't want to say uncle. They don't want to cry, as the expression goes, uncle, but they will. And if they don't, they'll have no bridges, they'll have no power plants, they'll have no anything. I won't go further because there are other things that are worse than those two.
So,
Oh, I didn't have the clip where he actually called them. What did he call them? He called them. What did he call them? Oh, Jesus. What did he call them? Was it monsters? I I I can't find the clip. I thought I had the clip right there. Um, I believe it was monsters. Is that what he called the Iranian people? He called them less than human. Is what he called them. Let me see. Nope, I don't have it. Dang it. Let's get into this clip though. That explains a lot of things.
A four-star general, one of the few that are in the Army, who's in charge of Army Futures Command. And here's one that hit personally for me, which I don't know how to connect the dots on this, but the third officer mentioned was Major General Bill Green. Bill Green is the chief of chaplains in the Army. And what that means is he oversees all the moral capabilities of the chaplains in the force.
But understand, Bill Green, who is over the chaplains who got fired, he cannot teach a white Christian nationalist fake white supremacy under the guise of Christianity message, because he's a black man. And that is why he got fired, being over the moral teachings of the of any type of religion in Pete Kegbreath military. Pete Kegbreath have white nationalist pastors coming and spewing their hate-filled messages wrapped up in the bastardization of the Christian religion, visiting the troops to tell them all of this white nationalist shit. Okay, let's continue.
Hodney, a four-star general, one of the few that are in the Army, who's in charge of Army Futures Command. And here's one that hit personally for me, which I don't know how to connect the dots on this, but the third officer mentioned was Major General Bill Green. Bill Green is the chief of chaplains in the Army. And what that means is he...
Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. I think I have a problem. I hope I am able to correct it. Hold on. Let's see if I'm able to correct that problem. I think I corrected the problem. Okay. Hold on. I am going to have to stop, and I am going to have to come right back to this stream. Am I? No, I'm just gonna keep going. I cannot reschedule. I understand why I don't see any us talking in the chat now, but I apologize. We're just going to have to keep on pushing through. Hold on. Yes, we're going to have to keep on pushing through. I appreciate you being here. Please hit the like button.
He oversees all the moral capabilities of the chaplains in the force. And I know Bill Green. He was one of my chaplains when I was a brigade commander, and he is one of the finest officers and ministers in the Army. And that's why he was chosen as the chief of chaplains. When you have those three individuals, it tells me more of what's going on. There's all kinds of conclusions on why George was fired. But when you talk about all three of them together, it's much more damaging, and there's a whole lot more to this story. They were standing up for something. I don't know what the issue was, but when you hear Secretary Hegseth say that soldiers are fighting for Jesus, which is what he said in a speech the other day, that just chills me to the bone, especially when you have soldiers and all military personnel who are of other faiths, and it's on Passover weekend. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Here's another guy, Major General Randy manner.
All of our military personnel are in greater risk than they have ever been before in terms of any other previous administration. We have a Secretary of Defense who has actually stated words in his speeches and in writing that are literally the words of potential war criminals. Even if the president pardons him for these things, The Hague will eventually come to get him. It's very disheartening whenever the Secretary of Defense, who we're supposed to look up to for guidance and counsel and strategy, is saying things about show no quarter, which by its quote is prohibited and defined in U.S. law as a war crime. The idea of attacking infrastructure that affects civilians is a war crime. So it goes on, and our military members start to question, what are we doing here if we're attacking, for example, a bridge under construction? It just doesn't make any sense in terms of what are the military objectives, which seem to keep changing on a regular basis. And if you don't have military objectives, and then you know when success has been achieved, that means all you're going to do is get further and further involved in this warfare, and it's going to go worse and worse for the United States and for the American public in terms of the oil prices, just as an example.
I wonder if we're supposed to believe that they've all got together and
Okay, now you did hear Pete Kegbreath absolutely come out and say they will show no quarters to the Iranian. Those are the wounded people. Those are the people who you can't just walk by them, see that they are wounded, and leave them there to perish. You must show them quarters. That is the rules of war. You know, those rules of the Geneva Convention that Kegbreath expressed that he did not want to follow, yet he was confirmed anyway by these Republican senators, and the vote was so close that J.D. Vance had to sashay his switching ass into to break the tie, where to make sure that Kegbreath even got this position. The vice president had to come in and be the deciding vote for him to be the over Department of Defense. He don't want to abide by the Geneva Convention. Now, let's see how that is working out for our troop, because more and more, what they dealt out to you on yesterday sounds like absolute horseshit. Now, prior to your administration coming out and telling you that two F-130 aircraft were downed in Iran. Iran was the one who reported that, and not only two airplanes, but also two helicopters. And to say that they were on a mission to rescue this one pilot, they sent two F-130s. Now, understand, F-130s hold over 100 people. So they sent two. And then in the press conference, you find out when 4547 asked the unqualified Joint Chiefs of Staff, Raising Cane, how many troops did we have out there? And then he said, I'd rather not say. But your stupid president went on to say, well, we had a couple of hundred of troops out there. So you mean to tell me that they had a couple of hundred of troops out there to rescue one man in two aircraft that could hold over 100 people a piece? And then he said that they had hundreds of people out there. But then these aircraft that bought them out there were unable, they got stuck in the sand, and they were unable to get these aircraft to fly again, to fly away. But then they told you that some black op helicopters came in and rescued all the people. So exactly how many helicopters did you have to bring? How many flights back and forth did you have to do to bring back hundreds of people that were stuck because of these highly intelligent military, these pricey military planes that can do everything, that you figured out how to scan an area and find missile defense and strike them down and all of this. It can do all of this shit, but it can't taxi out of mud. And you said that you guys said that you destroyed these aircraft yourselves. So my question is, how many? If we're hundreds of people, for this rescue of this one person, how many helicopter rides back and forth to the aircraft that you destroyed yourselves did it take to get these hundreds of people out of that area? And if you're destroying aircraft yourselves, isn't the fire and the blazes bringing attention to that area from uh, uh, to the Iraqis? And you mean to tell me y'all had two aircraft carriers and two helicopters on fire, and that didn't bring Iraqis to you, knowing that you were looking for that pilot because they knew that they didn't have that pilot? So that didn't attract more Iraqis to you. So you were able to get hundreds of people back out of there in how many helicopter rides? With no Iraqis attacking you. Now, you said they also said that they were striking any military age. Not Iraqi. I'm saying Iraqi. Iranian. I apologize. They said they were striking any Iranian military age person that came within a kilometer of where they were going to pick up this missing pilot. And they set two whole aircraft carriers and two whole helicopters on fire to destroy their military equipment, to destroy their military intelligence, so the Iranians wouldn't get their military intelligence. But that brought no Iranian fighters to that area. See, you got to make some shit make sense. You really have to try harder to make stuff make sense, because that makes absolutely no sense. If they had started this big bonfire, you don't think that the Iranians would not have come to see, hey, what the fuck is going on over here? We didn't set that fire. What's going on over here? Okay. Aren't you supposed to be clandestine when you're trying to just run in and rescue a injured airman and then run off? Oh, but we are supposed to believe that. Now, it has been reports that what was really was going on, because if you notice in his speech, 4547 tried to tell you, the planes, they were going real fast. They go so fast, and they just can't stop on a dime. And sometimes they'll stop 3 seconds later and they're a long way away. Well, you know why he added that into that little speech, that little lie that he gave you yesterday? Because it has been reported that the pilot that was down was found 100 miles away from where this wreckage of these two military planes and two helicopters were burnt up at. So what they're saying is that they expect you to believe that a badly wounded pilot traveled over 100 miles to get to his rescue site. So your president tried to make it easy. They go so fast. They overshoot their boundary. So the pilot who was badly injured, he came and he he got on the aircraft and everything was safe. And, even though they couldn't get out of the mud, we got hundreds of our troops out of there. So my question is, there has been reports that this administration is undercutting the number of casualties that have gone on in Iran. So I am wondering if this is another case of them not telling you the whole story. Now they have a radar system that they have told that they do not want them to give up to the minute a radar that anybody can go and see. This is what this radar system is, a private company that allows you to go to anywhere in the world and get a radar readout of what it looks like on the ground. So since this war has started, they initially told this radar private company that we need your help. Can you not show what happens on the ground for at least 12 hours after we've struck the ground? And then they pushed it back and told them, hey, well, we need you to not show what is happening on the ground for 2 weeks. And then they pushed it back and said, you know what, we don't want you to show what's going on in this region for 98 hours. And now it is, we do not want you to telegraph what's going on in this region, period. So is that a media blackout? Is that your government controlling media? Now that's not even media. That's a private company, because media is not even asking any questions. Why are you guys saying you have done all these things? But when the truth starts getting out about the number of schools that you have struck, why can't we go in and check for ourselves? Why can't people go in and see exactly what you have struck? Now we know what you say you have struck, but we don't know what you struck that you're not telling us about. You ever think about that? Okay, let me continue. We know you come out here big as cuff, telling us about all the war crimes you are going to commit, unabashed, unashamed. So why is there a blackout on the things that can be seen on the ground via a private company? Make that make sense. No, did I show him? I don't think I've shown him.
It's those guys.
Yeah, I think, the fact that the war is not going to the way that the president wants, he's getting very frustrated. That frustration gets pushed down to his secretaries, his cabinet. His cabinet then pushes back onto, the people in the rank and file. And in this particular case, the Army's doing an awful lot of stuff. There probably was an awful lot of pushback on, putting ground troops in there, and the danger of another Iraq or Afghanistan. And I don't think that's what Hegseth wanted to hear. But the Army commander is a warrior. He's been in these places. He knows what happens when ground troops get put there. And I think we can safely deduce that probably was part of the conversation and why he's no longer there. For the health of the
Hold on, let me hold on. Now I see you guys. I apologize. I can't see you on StreamYard. Something is going on with StreamYard. And when I went over to the YouTube side, I finally see you guys. I thank you guys for being here. And I'm going to go through some of your comments and see what you guys are talking about after this clip.
way that the president wants, he's getting very frustrated. That frustration gets pushed down to his secretaries, his cabinet. His cabinet then pushes back onto, the people in the rank and file. And in this particular case, the Army's doing an awful lot of stuff. There probably was an awful lot of pushback on, putting ground troops in there, and, the danger.
Bear with me. This may seem like the same clip, but I cut him off in the first clip. That was the wrong clip I played. You will hear what he has to say completely. Now, this is a former general, I believe, in the retired general.
Of another Iraq or Afghanistan, and I don't think that's what the Hegseth wanted to hear. But the Army commander is a warrior. He's been in these places. He knows what happens when ground troops get put there, and I think we can safely deduce that probably was part of the conversation and why he's no longer there. For the health of the Army and for the generation of forces necessary for operations, I mean, it's going to have a significant impact, because what they're saying is they want a philosophical change at the top. They probably don't want warriors. They probably want sycophants and people that will tell the Secretary of War exactly what he wants to hear.
As we've already seen.
Okay, so something else is happening. This has caused something else to happen. Now, what your media may be undercutting or not telling you is that all 13 bases in these surrounding countries, they are putting up our military in hotels, which they are not supposed to do, because they are making people who are staying in said hotel targets, because they have our military personnel in these hotels. So this is things that they are not supposed to do. But what they are not telling you as well, that these military that they are putting in these hotels have nothing. Your Pentagon has $1 trillion budget, but they are putting these military personnel who have to escape these military bases that they have put in the U.A.E. In all of these surrounding countries around in the around Iran in the Middle East. All of these people who had to abandon those 13 bases had to leave with absolutely nothing. And they are taking up charity funds to get them toiletries, toothbrush, toothpaste for a military that has $1 trillion budget. They have absolutely nothing. They left with nothing on their backs. How embarrassing. They are living off the charity of others in a military that has $1 trillion budget, that said that they are going to go back to Congress and ask for another $200 billion to fight this war, as they are lying and telling you that they have air superiority in Iran and they can fly wherever they want to, and big aircraft carriers, people carriers, helicopters, fighter jets are all being struck down over where Iran. I was about to say Iraq again. Excuse me. Over Iran. Now, and your soldiers are leaving their military installations in these neighboring cities with nothing but the clothes on their back and living off the kindness of charity from these other people in these other countries. Not your military that is not going to leave anyone behind, with $1 trillion budget, of which while Pete Kegbreth could figure out how to blow $93 billion of the Pentagon budget last September under, well, if we don't use it, we're going to lose it. So we got to spend this money so we make sure they don't cut our Pentagon budget of $93 billion next year, even though the Pentagon budget for next year had already been passed when July 4th of last year. In that big bloated budget, Pete Kegbreth pretended like he needed to blow $93 billion in September of last year, or they could potentially lose it for this year. Pete Kegbreth knew that they wasn't going to lose nothing this year, because the $93 billion budget that he was blowing, the $93 billion that he blew in the budget in September came from an approved Biden budget that was $863 billion or somewhere around that. And in July of last year, the Pentagon budget was approved through 47 Congress to be $1 trillion. So he knew that he wasn't going to lose that $93 billion that he blew, because he knew that this year's budget had already been approved for $1 trillion. However, you have your troops walking around with no toothpaste, no toiletries, no, not even a bar of soap to wash their funky balls. Okay. This is what your military is doing. Let me share. Let me share this with you. You will also be appalled at other things that is going on with your military under the direction of these people, these unqualified people who have fired all four-star generals and replaced them with unqualified idiots. Let me share this with you. This is Rachel Maddow. Nobody can talk about a thing like Rachel Maddow can talk about a thing. Let's get into this. This will be link 3 in my description box. This is called Military Fights War on Two Fronts. Iran and Trump's Incompetence is the name of this video. Number 3 in my description box. I will share it with you. Let's get to this. All the atrocities that are being brought upon our military by the incompetent Pete Kegbreath. Okay, let's get to it, shall we?
The president has been doing things like that to the whole of the. And now we're into the wartime part of it, right? Because the president has been doing things like that to the whole of the U.S. government. You think he's doing a lot better when it comes to the military while we're at war? After Trump and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, still sounds crazy to say it, after Trump and Hegseth crowed for days and days that the United States had, quote, complete control of Iranian skies and, quote, uncontested airspace over Iran. After Trump said, quote, their Air Force is gone. Their anti-aircraft equipment is gone. We're flying wherever we want. We have nobody even shooting at us. Now, of course, we've had Iran shoot down an F-15 fighter. And the resulting rescue mission, an A-10 Warthog was also shot down. 2 C-130s and some number, 1, 2, 3, 4 U.S. Special Operations MH-6 helicopters also destroyed in that rescue mission. That's on top of the $300 million AWACS plane the Iranians blew up while it sat out in the open, undefended, on an airbase in Saudi Arabia in easy reach of Iran's missiles. Also, the 3 U.S. F-15s that were shot down right at the start of the war by our allies in Kuwait, because apparently these guys forgot to do basic deconfliction with our allies to tell them not to shoot down our planes. And they shot down 3 of them. Dozens of American troops have been wounded and some killed thanks to Iranian missile and drone attacks on what appear to have been essentially unprotected U.S. bases in the region, again, in easy reach of Iran's missiles and drones. The United States, bizarrely, started this war on its own terms and on its own timeline without first preparing its own bases for the inevitable Iranian retaliation with missiles and drones. So much so that U.S. military commanders are scrambling to find hotels and office space for U.S. troops to sleep in the region, because they can't sleep at their U.S. military bases because the bases aren't safe. Even though, again, this is a war that we started on our own terms and on our own timeline. Nevertheless, someone forgot to harden the targets at all the places where tens of thousands of U.S. military personnel are stationed, again, within easy and obvious reach of Iran's weapons. While the president keeps saying, oh, don't worry, they can't fight back. They have no capability. They have no anti-aircraft equipment. Quote, we literally have planes flying over Tehran and other parts of their country, and they can't do a thing about it. He keeps saying these things while U.S. planes keep going down. It's not at all clear that he understands why that is, or that there is a contradiction between those two fact patterns. The one he's asserting about Iran's capabilities and the one Iran is demonstrating in the sky. Trump gave Tehran a deadline to open the Strait of Hormuz on March 23rd, or he said he would obliterate them. Then that deadline came and went. Then the deadline became April 6th. That's today. Then over the weekend, the deadline became tomorrow, April 7th. There's no explanation why from the president as to why these supposed deadlines keep changing. But honestly, there's no indication from the president that he necessarily understands that it is important that he keeps constantly changing these deadlines. I mean, does he fully understand that that's what he's doing? When he says Iran can't shoot down our planes, what does he think has happened when they shoot down our planes? Does he get the connection between those? I mean, it's one thing to think about the commander-in-chief maybe not being all there, right? Rambling, swearing, jumbled thoughts, changing deadlines, no explanation for what the war is for, no seeming understanding of what's happening in the war. But then beyond that, beyond his apparent incapacity to explain, let alone manage what's happening, on top of that, there's what he's simultaneously doing to the U.S. military, which has a little whiff of what he's done to the rabies lab at the CDC. I mean, the Fox News weekend host Trump put in charge of the
I am back. I apologize. I don't know what happened. StreamYard threw me out. Let me continue sharing this screen with you. Let's get back into it, shall we? Oops. Hold on. Hold on 1 second. I'm sharing the wrong screen with you. Let's get back into what is going on with our troops and how our troops are being treated by Keg Breath and 4547.
right?
All this respect for
Because
the
a president who's been doing things like that to the whole of the U.S. government, you think he's doing a lot better when it comes to bizarrely started this war. Essentially unprotected U.S. bases in the region, again, in easy reach of Iran's missiles and drones. The United States, bizarrely, started this war on its own terms and on its own timeline without first preparing its own bases for the inevitable Iranian retaliation with missiles and drones.
And thus we have our military people who were living in a station on those bases, living in hotels and with nothing, no personal effects that they were able to bring along with them, living off the charities of others, not being supplied with what they need from a $1 trillion budgeted U.S. military.
So much so that U.S. military commanders are scrambling to find hotels and office space for U.S. troops to sleep in the region, because they can't sleep at their U.S. military bases because the bases aren't safe. Even though, again, this is a war that we started on our own terms and on our own timeline. Nevertheless, someone forgot to harden the targets at all the places where tens of thousands of U.S. military personnel are stationed, again, within easy and obvious reach of Iran's weapons. While the president keeps saying, oh, don't worry, they can't fight back. They have no capability. They have no anti-aircraft equipment. Quote, we literally have planes flying over Tehran and other parts of their country, and they can't do a thing about it. He keeps saying these things while U.S. planes keep going down. It's not at all clear that he understands why that is, or that there is a contradiction between those two fact patterns. The one he's asserting about Iran's capabilities and the one Iran is demonstrating in the sky. Trump gave Tehran a deadline to open the Strait of Hormuz on March 23rd, or he said he would obliterate them. Then that deadline came and went. Then the deadline became April 6th. That's today. Then over the weekend, the deadline became tomorrow, April 7th. There's no explanation why from the president as to why these supposed deadlines keep changing. But honestly, there's no indication from the president that he necessarily understands that it is important that he keeps constantly changing these deadlines. I mean, does he fully understand that that's what he's doing? When he says Iran can't shoot down our planes, what does he think has happened when they shoot down our planes? Does he get the connection between those? I mean, it's one thing to think about the commander-in-chief maybe not being all there, right? Rambling, swearing, jumbled thoughts, changing deadlines, no explanation for what the war is for, no seeming understanding of what's happening in the war. But then beyond that, beyond his apparent incapacity to explain, let alone manage what's happening, on top of that, there's what he's simultaneously doing to the U.S. military, which has a little whiff of what he's done to the rabies lab at the CDC. I mean, the Fox News weekend host Trump put in charge at the Defense Department just chose to fire the Army Chief of Staff, the top general in the Army, right in the middle of this war that we are not winning. He also fired the head of the Army Training Command and the Army's top chaplain for some reason. This comes after we lost the 3-star general who was the head of strategy for the Joint Chiefs, which came a couple of weeks after we lost the head of U.S. Southern Command. That came just days before we lost the Navy Chief of Staff and the head of U.S. Special Operations Command and the top U.S. Air Force commander. That came after we lost the head of the Defense Intelligence Agency and the head of the Navy SEALs, the Naval Special Warfare Command. That came after we lost the Chief of Staff of the Air Force and the aforementioned head of U.S. Cyber Command and the director of the National Security Agency. That came after we lost the chairman of the Joint Chiefs and the commandant of the Coast Guard and the vice chief of staff of the Air Force and the Army's top military lawyer and the Air Force's top military lawyer and. And of course, there's been a benefit to all this top leadership in the Pentagon being fired or being pushed out by Pete Hegseth. And the benefit, of course, is that
the benefit is going to shock you. what the Trump administration has taken advantage of because of all of these firings of these top brass career merit-based people being fired by someone with zero merit.
Trump cabinet member.
What's the advantage? What's the advantage? Let me make sure you understand what the advantage was.
Being fired or being pushed out by Pete Hegseth. And the benefit, of course, is that Trump cabinet members can then take their houses. They've all decided to move into U.S. military housing. So you fire the general.
Yeah, so if you didn't follow my previous reporting, I told you that the top cabinet people, from Marco Rubio to Keg Breath, to Stephen Miller, to Tulsi Gabbard, to Pam Bimbo, all of these people were living in the housing that was for these top ranked career generals that were fired for free. You were paying for their housing because they decided to pretend as if their lives were in danger. Someone allegedly, according to Stephen Miller's baddie, I want to be a influencer wife who flew off to work with Elon Musk and now is back doing a podcast. Katie Miller. She said somebody wrote something in behind secured gates, and we must live in a colonel's or a top general's house that just happens to have come vacant, but because Keg Beth doesn't want any JAG officers telling him what is and is not legal to do in the military, because Cagbra doesn't want any females to advance to the heights that some females have advanced to, because Cagbreath doesn't want black officers to advance to the height that they have advanced to. So we will fire a 4-star general and put a unqualified retired 3-star general in his stead and give him a waiver so he can get the job that we say we are giving based on merit. This is what they have done with the housing. I digress.
And the commandants and stuff, at least you can take their house. So there's that. That's good for America. And then take their houses. They've all decided to move into U.S. military housing. So you fire the generals and the commandants and stuff, at least you can take their house. So there's that. That's good for America. The strategic and even cognitive incoherence of the president and the defense secretary, those top civilian officials in charge of the military, those are worrying things, right? Less worrying, thankfully, when we can count on a professional, excellent, non-political, meritocratic military, right? If you can have lousy civilian leadership to an extent, if you can count on an excellent professional military to know what to do and to do it well despite bad leadership. But in this case, our country is simultaneously taking these wild swings directed by Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth with no apparent foresight about what kinds of consequences those swings will bring, while also Trump and Hegseth are fundamentally destabilizing the U.S. military itself, leading to scenarios like we are in now, in which Trump had no idea Iran had the capability of shooting down any of our planes, and leading to what we're in now, where U.S. military commanders in the region are just hoping our troops will be safe in hotels, billeting them in hotels, in civilian hotels, since apparently we forgot that we might need to keep them safe on their bases. How are these guys doing taking care of the troops and the veterans who come home from war? This is the lead from NPR. Quote, more than 10,000 veterans lost their homes to foreclosure since May of last year, when the Trump administration shut down a key safety net in the VA home loan program. Quote, the Trump administration was warned this would happen. At a hearing in March 2025 before the House Committee on Veterans Affairs, a representative from the Mortgage Bankers Association warned about it explicitly. Quote, foreclosure, period. That's really where it's going to come to. Nevertheless, less than 2 months later, the Trump administration shut down the rescue program anyway. Since then, more than 10,000 U.S. veterans have lost their homes through foreclosure sales. Yeah, it is not that they are doing any better with veterans or with the military than they are with the CDC rabies lab or with the FBI or with any of it. They are breaking all of it. And now we are seeing what it's like for them to try to wage what is turning into a major war with a government and a military that they have broken. I mean, look at how they're treating deploying troops. There's a brigade at Fort Polk, Louisiana, that is getting ready to deploy. They're just about to start their last pre-deployment training before shipping out. Staff Sergeant Matthew Blank is part of that brigade. He's 23 years old, but he's already a staff sergeant.
Oh my God, I am back again. I don't know what is going on with StreamYard, but let me address a couple of ignorance in the chats. Um, who is it? Gary Thurman. Gary Thurman. If you think that the only thing that I am giving is my opinion, tell me where I am wrong in anything that I have said in my said opinion. If I'm just giving my opinion, tell me where I'm wrong at then. Uh, uh, if my presentation is unsuitable for you, hit the like button and leave. No one is chaining you in here. I'm not insulted by your ignorance because you are mad because your chosen one has ruined the whole world. and you can't take the truth. So no one is holding you in here. No one wants to hear how ignorant you are, trying to make the facts something other than what they are. The facts are the facts. I don't care what you think about my opinion. If you have an opinion that you want to get out, go open up your channel and spout your opinion. Because what I do is I give facts and I drop links to the information that I give on my channel. So this is not Fox News that gives hyperbole in propaganda. This is not a propaganda channel. So I'm so unimpressed that your feelings are hurt by my presentation. But frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. Let's continue. Let her finish up and tell you the consequences our troops have to live under because fools voted this man back in office. Let me show you the bullshit that is going on with our troops. Shall I? Let's get into it. If they don't drop me out again, let me share my screen and get to the end of this video. Here it is, right here.
Right?
Here we are. I think we're back here.
Pre-deployment training before shipping out. Staff Sergeant Matthew Blank is part of that brigade. He's 23 years old, but he's already a staff sergeant. He enlisted at 18. He's been in the military for 5 years. He's already had deployments to the Middle East and Europe. Before this next deployment, happily, this past month, Staff Sergeant Blank got married. Big wedding in Texas. Very, very happy couple. Looking forward to starting a family together. Last week, he and his wife had their appointment at Fort Polk to get their married housing, get her military spouse ID. Instead, when they showed up at Fort Polk to register to get her military ID, ICE agents handcuffed her and took her to an immigrant prison. She has no criminal record of any kind. She was born abroad. She has lived here since she was a toddler. She teaches Sunday school. She's a few months from finishing her bachelor's degree in biochemistry. She is happily newly married to not only a U.S. citizen, but an active duty U.S. Army staff sergeant who is about to deploy. And how did he spend this weekend? He spent this weekend at the barbed wire gates of the Trump immigrant prison where they have now locked up his wife. Because, you know, they're going after the worst of the worst. This is the one thing the U.S. government is still even trying to do, right? And this comes after the U.S. Marines had to scramble to try to undo their announcement last week that the Marines would also have ICE agents stationed at the gates of Parris Island Recruiting Depot in South Carolina, where they apparently plan to arrest family members of newly minted U.S. Marines who were graduating from Marine basic training. They were going to arrest family members of those new Marines when they showed up for graduation for their loved one getting out of Marine Corps basic training. Welcome to the United States Marine Corps. Thank you for volunteering to give up your life for this country. We are locking up your family. We're going to pick them up at graduation. They announced that ICE agents would be at the gate at Marine basic training graduation. They then had to try to walk it back. They said it was an internal communication failure.
Okay, so are we clear that because Trump's policies, enlisted members, not enlisted, well, some enlisted and some retired people from the military are losing their homes to foreclosure because he decided to shut down a rule that would help them if they were in foreclosure. And he said, who cares? Just shut it down. And 10,000 of our military personnel or retired personnel have lost their housing. You know that thing that the Supreme Court has made illegal to be homeless, and but they are cutting the budget. This new budget that Trump wants to get 1.5 trillion uh, for military expenditures next year. Uh, it's just a shame that people can't connect the facts to the hyperbole, to the propaganda, to the to the headline of the story, and they can't delve into the real facts of the story and understand how this administration has adversely affected themselves and how they live their lives. That is what is so pathetic about the whole situation. Now, let me give you some more information that I do want to share with you as well. I want to share this with you. If you are unaware of this, let's get into some news that we can use. Now, we know that uh, none other than Jared Kushner received $2 billion, would it be dollars, from the Sovereign Wealth Fund that had to be overridden by the Crown Prince. You know, the same Crown Prince that 45, 47 told the other day, you didn't understand that you were going to have to be kissing my ass. He said that the Crown Prince is kissing his ass now. Now, Jared Kushner got $2 billion for a startup company that Jared Kushner had never worked in, some a type of hedge fund that was a wealth fund. Now, Saudi Arabia Sovereign Wealth gave him $2 billion that the Crown Prince had to override because the Sovereign Wealth Fund didn't think that it would be a good thing to give that much money to a person who has never worked in a business that he was starting up, and who employed all of his college friends and who also had never worked in this business. Now, the Crown Prince overrode this. And so Jared Kushner got $2 billion. Now, Jared Kushner, the special envoy to the Middle East and to Russia and Ukraine and all these things, has been jets in Israel and Pakistan, where that they set up that fake, or what it appeared to be, a peace treaty where nobody signed any peace papers. Jared Kushner has been flying around the world, getting rich in these Middle East countries. Now, Jared Kushner, up until late, has been begging these Middle East countries for $5 billion more dollars for his little personal business. This is what the special envoy to the U.S., who they want you to believe is negotiating peace deals and all this shit. Now, we had a peace deal with Iran that they had agreed to. So what did Jared Kushner? Oh, and let's not forget Steve Witkoff, the great American builder, is running around doing the same. They are procuring their personal wealth, making personal deals with these rich Middle Eastern people in these countries, and setting up high-rise development and different buildings, different structures that is going to enrich them while they are marauding around, pretending like they are brokering some peace for war-torn countries. What peace has come to Gaza? They did a whole pomp and circumstance fake celebration for the peace that they allegedly brokered in Gaza, and people have in Palestine have been being killed every day, even the day that they were proclaiming that they were brokering peace in Gaza. And now Israel has been emboldened, and Gaza is worse as it was before this alleged peace deal that Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff had brokered. What of this peace deal between Russia and the Ukraine? What of it? Where is the peace that you see in that? Where is the peace that you see that Iran agreed to more sanctions than were in the agreement that they made with Obama for the agreement that they made with Obama to stop the proliferation of you know what I mean, proliferation of uranium. I can think of the word uranium. Now, they wanted to use nuclear power to actually be the power for their country. So they said that they allowed them to proliferate so much nuclear power to power their country. Now, that was under the Obama agreement, but Netanyahu went and told Trump, no, they're doing that because they making nuclear weapons, and so Trump tore up that agreement under the guise that with no proof. No proof was given. Same thing Netanyahu has been saying for 40 years. No proof was given. And plus, a black man brokered the deal. So you know that Trump was very glad to tear that up because Trump feels that anything that he is has to be better than what a black man is. So let's be clear that Trump is the reason why we are in this situation in the first place. So Trump followed Netanyahu's orders that to tear up the deal. That was number one. Now Trump has followed Netanyahu's orders twice to strike Iran. So are we clear on whose problem this is? As Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner falsely sat down and negotiated with Iran, and Iran thought that they were negotiating with true people who wanted to solve a problem. On a Thursday night, they left the negotiations and saying, okay, we're going to meet with the UN on Monday to get these to line up the inspectors, and Jared Witkoff and Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff left it and was like, see you later, suckers, because they know they were not negotiating in good faith. But Iran didn't know that they were not negotiating in good faith. Iran was expecting to meet with Witkoff and Kushner and the UN and inspectors to line up the inspectors for what they thought that they had brokered an agreement on. So they leave the negotiations on Thursday night, and then on early Saturday morning, Iran is struck by Israel and U.S. forces. And the first thing they struck was the school of elementary school children. Now, it is not being reported broadly about how many schools that your United States government has struck. It is not being reported broadly about how many hospitals, how many civilian institutions, how many colleges. Last night, the equivalent to MIT college was struck by your government. So it is not like your government has not been committing these war crimes all along. Your government has started striking Iran the way Israel has been striking its foes. Let's keep it a buck. Your government has taken a page out of Israel books in the striking of Iran. You know, someone who sat down at the table with them to broker a peace deal. and your government turned around and struck them after an agreed peace deal. Now, how is that working out for the rest of the world? How would you react? How would you react if your home nation was struck down? See, you guys like to play games, but you don't have no bombs lauded across your skies and tearing up your neighborhoods when you haven't done anything to anyone but broker peace. You don't have that happening to you. Now, so the last we saw Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff, they were sitting up, perpetrating a fraud about a peace deal with Iran. Why is that important? Because it may come back to haunt these money grubbing scoundrels. Now, you do remember that last week I told you the story about how Iran has been striking data centers over in the Middle East, in these countries that had allowed Americans to build military bases on their lands under the guise that, hey, if we have a base on your land, Saudi Arabia, we can protect you. Hey, you know what? If we have a base on your land, Bahrain, we can protect you. Now, all of the bases on the lands of these Saudi people have been bombed by Iran, and the Americans are nowhere around to do what? To protect them. So now Marco Rubio is in his feelings. Marco Rubio is pissed off because Saudi Arabia had the audacity to talk to Ukraine about what they are doing to make these drones. Saudi Arabia is looking to Ukraine to create these drones that they are using to strike Russia high value targets. These inexpensive drones that Ukraine offered to give this information to the United States. But the United States told Ukraine, we don't want your information. We don't want no information. We would rather blow apart $1 billion drones that take billion. We would rather strike missiles with $1 billion weaponry that takes 6 months to make. Why would we want to use a 20 or 30,000 dollar drone that you can make 606 days? We don't want to use that. We are Americans. Are you crazy? Now, so Saudi Arabia has gone over, Saudi Arabia that allowed Trump the Americans to put an air base on their land under the guise that they would get protection. The same Saudi Arabia who then turned around and gave Jared Kushner $2 billion against the wish of the Saudi Sovereign Wealth Fund. Now they are looking to Ukraine. Somebody who who the U.S. turned down for military help. Now the Saudis want to know how to attack these missiles that are coming into their country, since the U.S. is not protecting them themselves. How do you think that this is going to work out? Now, we understand that the Crown Prince MBS was reported to be the person who had the American journalists chopped up. Your CIA gave such information to Donald Trump. But what did Donald Trump do when he got that information? He said that MBS was a great guy, and he didn't believe it because MBS was a great guy. Now, your intelligence told your president in his first term that this is what MBS had done to a reporter that was making unflattering reports about Saudi Arabia. So what you think gonna happen to Jared Kushner? What you think is going to happen to Jared Kushner? who's over there groveling for more money after he already then got $2 billion from the Saudis, and the Saudis are getting no protection. They're having to scramble to Ukraine to get to try to figure out a way to protect their nation. What you think gonna happen to them? Okay, here's the story. Here's the story. Says I don't know what I'm talking about. Since I don't know what I'm talking about, I'm going to drop this story. This would be link number 3. That Rachel Maddow link was link number 2 that I just showed you about how your veterans are being treated. Gulf funds are recalibrating American investments. So including backing for Paramount merger as Iran war rages on. So I also reported to you that this big merger that Oracle is in with Chat GPT to make this big data center. I believe it's in Plano, Texas. The investment that Saudi Arabia has made with the Ellisons for this merger for Paramount to buy up Warner Brothers or vice versa. The Saudis had money in all of this with one of the richest man in the United States. So now they are recalibrating all of these investments. So do you think that they are going to be recalibrating the investments that they made with Jared Kushner under the guise that he is the son-in-law of the president? He is so powerful, and that hey, when we need something from the United States, we gonna get it type shit. What they get for their $2 billion investment from Jared Kushner, and what they gonna get from Ukrainians for free to protect their nation. What are they going to have to pay the Ukrainians $2 billion for the promise of protection, or is Ukraine is going to give them the information to protect their nation for free, because they understand what it means for somebody who you have not attacked to attack you, and how to defend yourself. You think it's you think that Zelensky is going to charge Saudi Arabia $2 billion to actually give him information to protect him? As Jared Kushner puts on his little hat and shots sashay over to Gaza to make his big technocratic world in the Gaza Strip and in Palestine, and acting like his hands are clean. What do you think gonna happen? So y'all think that these Middle East people are just gonna sit up here? These billionaires, these people that 4547 said he's going to strike all power plants and water desalination plants, the stuff that takes the salt out of the water that Iran don't need as much as these other Gulf nations need. They cannot survive without their desalination plants. So Iran said, "You strike ours, and we're gonna strike everyone in all of these Gulf nations that you had a base on." And if they destroy these nations in Dubai, the U.A.E., Saudi Arabia will have to migrate somewhere else. They will not be able to survive without them, because they would not be able to survive long enough to rebuild new ones in their regions. So let's be clear. Iran said, "You strike ours, and we're telling you exactly what we're gonna do." And that's what we mean we're gonna do. You strike our power plant, and every power plant that in the whole Middle East will go dark. And you deal with that. Let the whole Middle East go dark. after they just gave Jared Kushner $2 billion to prevent all of this shit that is happening to them, that to happen to them. What you think? What do you think is going to happen to America? What do you think is going to happen to America? Now, let's get into this article and let's understand what is really going on. See, they don't want to remind you how much money that Jared Kushner got from the Saudis, as he's over there begging. I got $2 billion. Get more than twice as much now. Let me beg for $5 billion now. We made a and he has made no profit off of the $2 billion that he has raised. He has made no advance in the worth of his company above the $2 billion that he's raised. So it was not worth giving a person that never worked in the industry $2 billion, because he don't know what to do with it. So, but he still knows to come back and ask for $5 billion. Make that make sense. We made a commitment from day one. Oh no, this is drop site news saying that they are not going to put information behind paywalls, and I appreciate that about drop site news. If you have not subscribed to drop site news, I encourage you to subscribe to drop site news, because what I find that is very disheartening is that a lot of this information, people like the New York Times and different news outlet have started putting the real information behind a paywall, where they want you to pay weekly, monthly, and all of this type of stuff. I feel that if this is a very important world news, people should not have to pay for the real news, since our broadcast news have been so corrupted by conglomerates buying up so much of our televised news media. It is disheartening. So let me drop the link to this story. It is found on Drop Site News. I will drop it in the chat for you. Because I feel that you guys should go over there and check out Drop Site News. And I definitely want you to check out this story because it seems like 4547. Yeah, that's the story. 4547 has gotten himself in a pickle and gotten these billionaires, thank God, in a pickle. Now, if these billionaires get in too big of a pickle, what is going to come crumbling down? All of this fake investment, all of this propping up of this fake AI shit is going to come crumbling down. Gulf sovereign wealth funds are undertaking a sweeping review of American investment, driven by a combination of commercial necessity and political recalibration driven by the Iran war, according to sources familiar with the deliberations around the high-level financing deals. In particular, the planned merger between Paramount, Skydance, and Warner Brothers Discovery, made possible as a result of Gulf financing, is getting a new look. A postponed meeting of the board of the Qatar Investment Authority will reconvene within the next week as the fund recalibrates its investment approach, a source with knowledge of the deliberation said. Even from a purely numbers perspective, you have to look at this again, said the industry source, asking for anonymity to speak freely about investment matters rarely discussed publicly. No announcement from the meeting is expected, the source said, as the Qataris are unwilling to unilaterally back out of the deal, with Saudi Arabia also doing so. Withdrawing from the deal would be seen as a political shot against both Israel and the United States, where Qatar feels it cannot undertake alone under under current circumstances. Now, they are afraid that it's going to look like bad for them to back out of a deal that is not serving them alone. You see, if they have support from these other nations, maybe they won't feel this way. But they are clearing their throat. We have these investments. We should reconsider them. They're clearing their throats so other nations in the region that may be feeling the same way may join them. Let's be clear on what they're doing. The merger between the two media conglomerates was announced on February 27, 2026. The next day, the U.S. and Israel launched a surprise attack on Iran, which responded as promised by attack. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Which responded as promised by attacking Gulf countries hosting U.S. bases. Those same Gulf countries are the primary financial backers of the merger, according to documents on file with the Securities and Exchange Commission. Wealth funds connected to Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the U.A.E. Pledged $24 billion to back the deal, which cost nearly $111 billion. Under the current scenario, the Paramount deal remains likely to go through, but that could change if the war goes for another month or longer, and Gulf oil and gas assets come under even greater attack. 4547 has turned his attention to Iran's oil infrastructure, and Iran has pledged to retaliate by targeting Gulf oils and gas assets in response. Yet even the current circumstances are forcing a deeper look at the entire uh, site of deals in the sovereign wealth fund's portfolio. A Paramount spokesperson declined to comment. A spokesperson for the Public Investment Fund of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Ahmed Holding Companies of the U.A.E. and Qatar Investment Authority of Qatar did not respond to requests for comment. At risk is the at risk is the heart of the U.S. economy, which is currently fueled by the growth of AI companies and the data centers that power them. Harvard economist Jason Furman calculated that more than 90% of the GDP growth in the first half of 2025 was driven by AI and related investments. Much of the data center build out is powered by Gulf financing, while U.S. companies are also building out heavily in the Gulf. All of that is now uncertain. The story is not just now. Let me hold for a minute there. There is another story that about all of these AI centers, mostly being created in Gulf countries. Do you know why it is suspected that Iran hit Amazon data center? It's because the military is using that data center to store and get information. And once the military start using a facility, that facility is considered to be able to be struck as a military entity. And that is why Amazon allegedly was struck by Iran. Now, there are data centers all across the United States. We are aware that there are, I believe that they wanted to get at Palantir in that data center that they struck for Amazon. If I remember correctly, I believe it was Palantir that the military was using from that base that Iran struck. Now, are we clear that all of these data centers that dots the whole United States that these billionaires are building? They are many of them are used for military information to be shared as well. So there is a there is someone in Congress who is asking for a bill to be written that the military can no longer use these databases that are all across the USA because it puts the U.S. citizens in danger. Because if the military is using data from these data centers, then that data center can very well be a target. And we know that Virginia is the home of the data center. They say there are so many data centers in Virginia that it is frightening. So that was a side story. Let me get back to this. 90% growth. Okay. All. Let's see. Uh, let me see. Much of the data center build out is powered by Gulf finances, while U.S. Companies are also building out heavily in the Gulf. All of this is now uncertain. The story is not just deals specifically, but if you look at all the AI data center and all the growth that is coming in the next few years, where is most of that capital coming from? He said a lot of it is coming from the Gulf, and the Gulf, not politically, but even just from a financial perspective, cannot commit that what's the wait a minute cannot commit that what's the knock-on effect of those companies and the U.S. economy. I don't think anyone has done the math, but there is something there absolutely. Hyperscalers, referring to major companies like OpenAI, are fine. Those guys are huge. They can afford it. But what about the next level? He said, referring to a sweeping class of companies that could go under without Gulf support. A second source with close relationships to key Gulf leaders said that Gulf countries are looking closely at all of the deals have that they have struck, giving the new financial realities at play, giving that there are new risks at play. In early March, the Financial Times reported that Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the U.A.E. and Kuwait were collectively reviewing investments with an eye towards canceling some, citing a Gulf official. A number of Gulf countries have begun an internal review to determine whether force I think that is maneuvers, whether force, I think that's major clauses can be invoked in current contracts, while also reviewing current and future investment commitments in order to alleviate some of the anticipated economic strain from the current war. The official told the Financial Times, especially if the war and related expenses continue at the same pace. The war and related expenses have not merely continued, but accelerated. The industry source said that divestment would likely happen quietly, but it was an inevitability. Just mathematically, it will have to happen, he said. I don't think it will be obvious. I don't think it will be a message that way, but I think it will just happen. And then as things build up again, then people are going to wonder if it's the same people that are involved now or later. You're going to question, are they going to do the same thing again? Are they going to think about diversifying? That's the question. Gulf investors, he says, just won't be able to do the scale they were committed to. Paramount is run by David Ellison, son of Oracle founder Larry Ellison. You know, the same people, the same Oracle company that laid off 30,000 workers at 6 a.m. via email saying today is officially your last day with Oracle because we are investing more of our money in AI. You know, those Ellisons. You know, the Ellisons that had that own the company that wanted to fire Jimmy Kimmel based on Brandon Carr, the head of the FCC, because Brendan Carr was the one who had to approve this merger. Those Ellisons, those Ellisons that are now on CBS, and 60 Minutes is fucked because of it, because they want a right wing on 60 Minutes, and these are the Ellisons. The Ellisons that owned TikTok. I don't know how many of you guys are on TikTok and have seen how many accounts that have been banned on TikTok since the Ellisons have taken over TikTok. These are the Ellisons. The Ellisons that Pete Kegbreath, when asked a question that he didn't like, and he immediately didn't answer the question, but asked the reporter, who was she with? He pulled the Donald Trump. Who are you with? How dare you ask me this question? What media are you with? And she said CNN. And what did Kegbreath said? Oh, of course CNN. I can't wait until David Ellison owns CNN. When he got a straight up question that the Secretary of Defense should be asked and should be able to answer. But instead, he quipped, I can't wait until David Ellison owns CNN. Okay, that's why it is a horrible thing for all of these large corporations to swallow up a small corporation, including your local news. St. Clair and that other this other agency, they put out a script. They own a local news station all throughout the country, and they put out scripts for what every local news channel in every region, all of the ones that they own, they have a script of things that they must say, the stories that they must cover, and what they must say when they're covering these stories. So, do you think that your for-profit news is giving you all the information? Okay. Paramount is run by David Ellison, the son of Oracle founder Larry Ellison, one of the world's wealthiest men and the largest donor to the nonprofit Friends of the IDF. IDF is the Israeli army. Larry Ellison put up billions to cover his son's merger with Warner Brothers. The Ellison bought Barry Weiss of the Free Press. Barry Weiss, who is now she is now over CBS News, driven by David Ellison's admission for her support for Israel. They bought her company and gave her the reins to CBS News because of her support for Israel. These are the people who own the majority of the media, and is now. Why did the FCC had to approve this merger? Because these mergers have to be approved by the FCC because of the clause that no corporation should be able to expand to a majority. But they didn't care. As long as they are singing the song and dropping the dollars in the right hands, pockets, accounts, they don't care if all of media is bought up and you are hearing something from a Israeli sympathizer. And what does that do when it comes to getting the whole news? You're going to get it from a certain slant. The reason they didn't play the CCOT story, where they did an investigation to the people who were hauled off to CCOT, is that Barry Weiss said, well, wait a minute, it had been approved by lawyers ready to go 15 or 30 minutes before the show was to air. Barry Weiss came in and said, wait a minute, we need a viewpoint from the right. We need someone like Stephen Miller to talk about it. We need someone like Stephen Miller to talk about a show that Stephen Miller has no impact on, other than he was the one who started these atrocious numbers that must be kept up, and they still have not deported more people than Joe Biden or Barack Hussein Obama. They are still failing to deport the number of people that were deported by President Obama and President Biden, with all of this pomp and circumstance and all of these shit shows all across the country, all of these keystone face covered, no identifying murderous ICE agents out here on our streets. And you mean to tell me they are still losing? This administration is a loser's administration. We are not winning in this war. We have not won with these ICE agents and their mass deportation. And who is over the Department of Justice now? A loser. Todd Blanche. Todd Blanche was Donald Trump's personal attorney in the cases that he lost about Stormy Daniels, and he is the lawyer who represented Trump. That he was convicted and found guilty on 34 felony charges. And what does he get? He gets a cushy position as the second in command over the DOJ. And then when they fired Pam Bimbo, who only got the position because when she was the attorney general in Florida, I told you that somebody brought a case to the attorney general, and they said that Trump University is stealing money from us. They do not have real degrees. They do not have real instructors. They are not having real classes, and I want to sue them. And Pam Bimbo said, oh, well, hey, you guys have a good case. And a couple more people joined the case. And then what happened? Has been reported that Ivanka Trump and Donald Trump donated $25,000 separately to Pam Bimbo's re-election committee, and then Pam Bimbo decided that she was no longer going to pursue the case as the Attorney General of Florida. Meanwhile, other states kept their cases going against Trump University and easily won those cases. But give Pam Bimbo $50,000 and she'll do whatever. She'll do whatever. And how was she rewarded? He saw that this bitch would do whatever for a little piece of change. And he put her over the DOJ. And when she lost that job, what loser did he put in her place? None other than his personal attorney, Todd Blanche, who went to the prison to allegedly question Ghislaine Maxwell about the Epstein case that he had no actual knowledge of, because he was not in the DOJ when Ghislaine Maxwell case was filed. You notice how he can't answer anything about the Ghislaine Maxwell case because I don't have that information. I have to get back with you on that information. He don't know nothing about the case. Well, what if you don't know nothing about the case? Why are you the one to go and question the person who is convicted of the crime? Why are you the person who is going to question her? How are you going to discern if what she's telling you is a lie, because you are not up on the case? Why wouldn't you get the prosecutor who worked for the DOJ to go question Ghislaine Maxwell if there are some things you want to know? Because surely the woman who prosecuted her to conviction would know if Ghislaine Maxwell is throwing a bunch of lies at her. Why they didn't get Maureen Comey, James Comey, the former head of the FBI, James Comey? Why didn't they get his daughter, Maureen Comey, to question Ghislaine Maxwell, the woman who prosecuted her? Because they fired her for no reason. Losers. Now Todd Blanche is over the Department of Justice. Make any of this make sense? I don't know how I got all over here, but I'm just telling you. This is what we are looking at. Okay. Ultimately, if QIA's preference in the end is to exit the deal, the fund will stay in unless Saudi also departs. It is not a Qatar decision. It is not a Saudi UAE decision. It is a Saudi decision because all three countries have to commit for the deal to make sense. Unless you can find other investors from Asia, the industry source said Chinese wealth fund Tencent had previously been involved but dropped out so that the transaction would not have to undergo U.S. federal scrutiny on national security grounds. The most likely outcome of the meeting, the industry insider said, will be that the fund to continue a wait and see approach, knowing the political and economic situations are rapidly evolving or with rapidly disintegrating is what they mean. If Saudi goes in, Qatar will follow. If Saudi doesn't go in, Qatar won't follow. They're just a delay, and see what happens. Everyone can still say, no, or we're committed, or we're committed, and there's a million ways. If this continues another month, you can force Majure. You could do whatever. What is Majure? Let me see what the fuck is this. Majure. Let me be inquisitive. There's a million ways you can force what? Shit. There's a million ways you can force. Superior or irresistible force. There's a million ways you can force a superior, an event or effect that cannot be reasonably anticipated or controlled. Okay, there's that. There's a if it continues another month, you could force a million different ways things can't be controlled. You could do whatever. A Qatari source with insight to the process also said that the deal was still heavily likely to go through. Heavily likely. They are saying whatever. Trump's decision to humiliate MBS publicly has thrown a wrench into the relationship with Saudi Arabia. At a Saudi-backed investment conference, I reported on this last week, at a Saudi-backed and paid for investment conference, Trump rifled his relationship with the crown prince. A short time, and this is what he said, and I am quoting, a short time ago, we were together and he looked at me and said, you know, 1 year ago, you were a dead country, and now you're the hottest country anywhere in the world, Trump said. A quote again. He didn't think this was going to happen. He didn't think he'd be kissing my ass. He really didn't. He thought I'd be just another American president that was a loser with a country that was going downhill. But now he has to be nice to me. You tell him he better be nice to me. He's gotta be. That's what your president said to someone who his CIA said that had chopped up a journalist, Jacogi, because he was writing articles that he did not like. At the same conference, Saudi Wealth Fund announced a 15% cut in capital investments. Trump ally Steve Bannon piled on. Maybe we can get a couple or three of those princes in uniform, he said on his podcast, The War Room. Got any kids in special forces? Let's line up those royal families and see how big they're talking. The insult has contributed to the air of uncertainty surrounding the Pentagon financing and the industry source said. Look at the thing that happened a couple of days ago. It's not a small thing. I mean, we know MBS. That was a pretty insulting move. I don't know if the word petty. I don't know if the word petty, but he'd be willing to move drastically based on emotions, he said. I don't know if the word petty. I don't know if he's the word petty, I believe they was trying to say. They don't know if MBS is petty, but he'd be willing to move drastically based upon emotion, he said. He said the he said that most in the industry were still stuck in a fog of war scenario and hadn't gamed out long term scenarios. Trump, he said, didn't seem to have thought things through either, particularly as it related to the president's promise to supply Europe energy. The knock on effects are tremendous because who will supply LNG and the gas to Europe for the next few years? It is the U.S., but now the U.S. Does is ruining Louisiana, extracting liquid natural LNG is liquid natural gas, and they are destroying the coast of Louisiana. They are destroying the oyster, the shrimping, all of that in Louisiana, because of the amount of liquid natural gases that they are pulling out in Louisiana. Because who will supply the LNG and the gas to Europe the next years? It's the U.S., but who also needs that gas to grow the data centers? It's the U.S. So something has to give. Access to helium and essential components for the AI industry. It also is also at risk as a result of the war. So I dropped that link in your chat. I am also going to drop this link in my description box. It will be link number 3 in my description box. I didn't know if you guys knew this, but it is link 3 in my description box. You can finish the article at your leisure. So I just wanted to give you a little information about some things that you may not be familiar with. Let's move forward. If you found something that you were unaware of, this is why I am here. So please feel free to thumb up the video, like the video, share the video, and leave a comment in my comment section. Now, let's talk about my main story that I did talk about the Doomsday plane. Okay, I gave you the story about the Doomsday plane. I'm going to drop the link in the chat one more time, just in case you didn't get here. Has had the Doomsday plane out flying around on yesterday. The Doomsday plane is the aircraft that they use in the case of nuclear wars or fallouts. So there's that. Hold on. Hold on 1 second. For some reason, I know that link isn't this long. My God. My God, today. Don't tell me the link is that long. Don't tell me the link is that long. It looks like the link is... That's crazy. This link cannot be this long. Let me try it one more time. I may not be able to drop the link in the chat. It may be too long for the chat. but it is in the description. It's too long for the chat. It is in my description box, however. Yes, it is in my description box. I can't drop it in the chat. Let's move forward. What I do want to share one more story with you. But is it? Now, if you guys don't know that J.D. Vance is in Budapest. Did you guys know that in the middle of the war, Budapest needed a visit from J.D. Vance? Do you know why J.D. Vance is in Budapest? Because Erdogan, a good friend to your president 4547, also a good friend to Donald Trump, also who has been coined a authoritarian leader, a dictator, all of these things, a fascist. He has been coined many of things. So J.D. Vance has decided to go visit Erdogan in Budapest. Why? Because it appears after, I believe been in office either 12 or 16 years, it appears that Erdogan is finally about to lose an election. Now, it has been reported that Erdogan is trying to promote some election interference from outside country narrative to cancel his elections. Does that sound familiar? Well, we have someone in the United States that is warning that 4547 is trying to do the exact same thing. Remember those ballots that 4547 confiscated in Georgia? They say that 4547 is trying to pretend like he has found, and remember 4547, you're going to be shocked what we show you that happened in 2020. You know, after all the court cases that found that there were no irregularities in the 2020 election, and they went and took all of the ballots from Georgia. Now, 4547 says you're going to be shocked at what they find. And we know that Tulsi Gabbard, who had no business being alone with the ballot, was in fact alone with the ballots in the back of a trucker. She came in costume. Her costumes were not like Christy Nome. Her heart wasn't in it. You could tell it was her with a baseball cap on, hiding on the side of a building, then climbing into the back of a big rig trucker alone in the truck with the ballots. And your president said you are going to be shocked what is found in these ballots. I'm just giving you the information how they gave it to me. So let's see what Vice President Vance is doing over in Budapest. Shall we? If you are unaware of this, let me share my screen with you. Here we go. Here we go. MAGA's global model faces existential test in Hungary. What is the global model? The global model is pretending that there is election interference. That's the Trump's global model. Okay, and it's being tested in Budapest. Vice President Vance on Tuesday will be plunged into Europe's most volatile election in years. In Hungarian. He's in Budapest, yes. A Hungarian campaign engulfed by spy scandals, sabotage, and unprecedented peril for MAGA favorite foreign ally. Why it matters. Orban is the cornerstone of President Trump's vision for Europe. The pro-Kremlin, anti-EU strongman has spent 16 years building a template for Christian nationalist rule, now embraced by the American right. Trump nationalist security standard wait a minute. Trump's national security strategy openly calls for cultivating a resistance in Europe by empowering nationalist forces like Orban's. His defeat would shatter that model at its source. Vance arrives at Budapest with a clear mission: boost Orban as a indispensable U.S. ally in the fight against migration and the liberal European order. Orban has led Hungary since 2010, systematically reshaping its courts, media, and electoral maps. Does that sound familiar? It reshaping its courts, media, and electoral maps. Now, it is reported that Samuel Alito allegedly may retire at the end of this session. I think it's in June. And therefore, speaking of the courts, it is possible that 45, 47 will be placing another a sycophant to the right on the Supreme Court. Stay woke. Okay. Where am I? Okay. Systematically reshaping its courts, media, and electoral maps to entrench his party's power. A playbook the European Parliament called a electoral auto, auto, autocracy. His challenger, former ally Peter Magar, has canceled voter has channeled voter anger over corruption and struggling economy into the most serious threat to Orban's rule in years. The big picture: Hungary's April 12th election is exposing rare geopolitical convergence. The U.S. and Russia are both intervening to try to keep Orban in power, while the EU and Ukraine are eager to see him gone. Washington: Trump's administration has made Orban's survival a strategic priority. His government has served as both ideological inspiration and proof of concept for MAGA visions of nationalist governance. Moscow: Orban's government is Russia's most valuable ally inside both NATO and the EU, blocking Ukraine's aid, vetoing sanctions, and allegedly leaking sensitive information to Moscow. Brussels: no single state has done more damage to EU unity than Hungary under Orban. A Mescaira victory would unlock billions of frozen EU funds and remove the bloc's most disruptive member overnight. Kyiv: Orban has grown openly hostile to his war-torn neighbor over the course of the campaign, accusing Ukraine of interfering in the election, sabotaging energy supplies, and dispatching spies to destabilize Hungary. Between the lines, the final week of Hungarian's campaign has descended into an all-out intelligence war. Hungary foreign minister was caught on leaked audio telling a Russian foreign minister that he wouldn't do our best to lift EU sanctions. Oh, that he would do our best to lift EU sanctions in a oligarch sister, ending the call with "I am always at your disposal." Investigative journalist Pani, who exposed Russian military intelligence operatives working inside Hungary, now faces criminal espionage charges filed by the Orban government. On Sunday, explosives were found near a gas pipeline supplying Hungary from Serbia. Orban accused Ukraine of sabotage, which Kyiv denied, while Magara suggested it could be a false flag operation. So, you know how the World War II started? World War II started from a false flag operation. So they are trying to say that there are outside entities that are trying to disrupt this election, and you see that they say it is based upon alleged intel that each one has about the other. So, and it could be a false flag situation. So we're going to keep our eyes peeled to see if Orban is going to stay in power. And let me see what else is. Any attempt to cling to power would plunge an EU member into crisis and force response from Brussels and Washington. Let me see. The vice president looked forward to visiting Hungary, a close U.S. ally, to build on the progress President Trump and Prime Minister Orban have made on many key issues, including energy, technology, and defense. A Vance spokesperson said, "I don't see any of this that has happened. Where did any of this happen?" Into the maelstrom walks the Vice President of the United States, stacking MAGA global credibility on, on the survival of Europe's most controversial strongman. MAGA is powerless right about now. MAGA is turning on MAGA like a a viper pit of snakes. So I don't know what that is going to do for anybody, but I just wanted to give you the story that your vice president in the middle of a war is trying to go over and prop up a dictator who is trying to steal an election based upon possibly false flags and stories of the vote being stolen from him. Does it sound familiar? I hope it sounds familiar, because when you if you have to hear it again, you will know where you've heard it first. Right here. I dropped a link. That is link number 4 in my description box. I hope you go over there and check it out. You know, the same old plays. I guess he said if it worked for 45, 47, it'll work for me. Okay. Now, they say, actually, that Orban is really trying to cancel the election. Now, there is a senator who believes that 45, 47 is trying to cancel our midterm election. Let's get to that. He doesn't believe that they're going to steal the election. He believes that Viktor Orban is looking to cancel the election. So let me I can't remember who it was. Oh, I see his face. His long face. Who was it? They want to cancel the elections. Hold on one second. Who is it? One second. Hold on. I have it. Hmm. While I look for this, let me back up the story about the data centers. I'll let you watch this about the data centers. Let me see. Oh, here it is, right here. A reporter exposes Trump's scheme to override the midterm. Senator Mark Warner of Virginia. That is who is ringing the alarm. Senator Mark Warner of Virginia. Thank you for being patient with me, but I think that it is important that you understand this and know this. this SAVE Act that 4547 is saying that he will not sign any more of the legislation, that Congress should not vote on any legislation under the guise that they are making sure that everyone is an American citizen. Understand that Pam Bimbo had demanded that every state turn over all of their election information to the federal government. They're trying to federalize elections. Elections are a state-only a controlled event. Okay, so let's hear what Mark Warner is talking about. This would be link number 5 in my description box, the 5th thing I delayed for you.
Top Democrat on intelligence for nearly a decade, and that has put him at the... Senator Mark Warner of Virginia has served on the Intelligence Committee for 14 years. He's been the top Democrat on intelligence for nearly a decade, and that has put him at the forefront of a lot of really intense matters of national security and international intrigue. And that is why it is striking to see somebody like Senator Mark Warner now come out in the middle of this war and send a flag up a very different pole. This is the warning that Senator Warner has just hoisted. Quote, Trump is trying to override our voting system. Quote, foreign interference is no longer the most pressing danger to our elections. It's increasingly evident that the greatest threat now comes from inside our own government. For months, President Trump has made his intentions clear. He's called for the federal government to take over elections, impose national rules, and override state authority. Now we're beginning to see how he may plan to do this. Allies of Trump's working in coordination with people close to the White House have circulated a draft executive order that would declare a national emergency based on false claims of foreign interference in the 2020 election. That declaration would be used to unlock sweeping presidential powers over how Americans vote. The proposal would allow the federal government to bar widely used voting methods, including mail. It would force Americans to re-register to vote on short notice. It would require proof of citizenship. It would insert federal agencies into the voter verification process in novel ways. It would attempt to override the constitutional role of states in administering elections. Senator Warner says, quote, there is no legitimate basis for such an emergency. That is not the point. The point is that the Trump administration could manufacture an impression of an emergency, creating a pretext for intervention. Joining us now is Senator Mark Warner, the top Democrat on the Senate Intelligence Committee. Senator, I'm really pleased to have you with us tonight. Thank you very much for making the time.
Thank you, Rachel.
I'm struck by, as I said, you sort of hoisting this warning right now in the middle of so many overlapping crises that we are having, including the multiple crises surrounding this war in Iran. What is the sense of urgency that you have about raising this alarm right now?
Well, first of all, Rachel, I wish I could rebut what you said about the cybersecurity threats, the war, or the detention centers, but you are right on all of those. A year ago, people would say to me, hey, Senator, do you think there's going to be free elections in 26 and 28? And I kind of blew it off. A year later, I am terrified that this administration is going to try to create some incident that can allow federal intervention. You know, we've seen the president already say, you know, he wants the feds to take over, or Republicans to take over elections. We've heard his former Secretary of National Homeland Security say, we want the right people to vote for the right people. We have seen, you know, this executive order that came out the day, put out this warning saying he wanted all the states to turn over their voter files to his DHS secret formula that would screen who could be an appropriate voter. Totally absurd.
Kristi Noem said that we want to make sure the right people vote for the right people. You know, Kristi Noem, who was unceremoniously fired, that's what she said as of the over the Department of Homeland Security. We want to make sure the right people vote for the right people. That's what he's speaking of.
But I am terrified because these policies are so unpopular that this crowd may try to do anything, including intervening in our election with federal forces, troops at the ballot, or disinformation that could actually be catastrophic. Because if we get off the notion of a free and fair election, I don't know how we ever return to that.
One of the reasons I wanted to talk to you about this is because of your intimate knowledge about the oversight of intelligence matters. And it really does seem like there's a prospect here, particularly with what Tulsi Gabbard has been doing and the other ways they've been talking about intelligence matters in relation to the election. It does seem possible that they're going to cite some form of bogus intelligence about some sort of threat, about some sort of pretextual emergency that allows them to take over elections in some extraordinary way. If they misuse intelligence, if they make up some phony, bogus intelligence threat or deliberately misconstrue some piece of intelligence to make that kind of a claim, does the structure of oversight in the intelligence community allow for anybody who knows that it's bogus to actually blow the whistle, to actually say, hey, we know this isn't right?
I would hope so. And I believe at the outset, Tulsi Gabbard, who has no role in domestic activities, was down in Fulton County, Georgia, when they seized those ballots. Tulsi Gabbard, who was supposed to be looking at foreign interference, seized voting machines in Puerto Rico illegally, I believe. For the first time in 10 years, this administration has not acknowledged any foreign influence threat, even though they're out there. So the idea they would pick some threat, real or conceived, to use as an excuse, I think we have to be very conscious of. So I've been trying to meet with former military leaders, intelligence leaders, law enforcement, just to say, if you see something that comes out that's a crock, speak up and rebut. And the press, frankly, needs to do it as well. This is about
the press is feckless. We have a feckless American press. I wanted to share that with you guys. Let me see if there's anything else. Let me see. White man only. General Honore slams Hexa for blocking. Here it is. Iran strike reveals what AI data centers in the U.S. are.
You are allowed to ask the question. I mean, maybe it's the training for the next generation of consumer AI.
This is what I was telling you about the AI. If the military is using AI as a portal, these AI centers are able to be hit. Tom Hartman program. I'm going to drop the link. This will be link number 6 because I am not going to play the whole video. I just want to give you the information. Do with it as you choose.
Training the system that just helps select targets in Iran. You are allowed to ask the question. I mean, maybe it's the training for the next generation of consumer AI, or maybe it's training the system that just helps select targets in Iran. The point is, you don't know, and nobody is legally required to tell you. This is interesting. On March 1st, was that 9 days ago, roughly, Iranian drones hit 3 Amazon data centers, 2 in the U.A.E. and 1 in Bahrain, if these reports are accurate. These are not military bases. They are not associated with military bases. These are, big kind of office building type structures, they're data centers. They're full of servers. And when they were struck, financial systems all across the Gulf suddenly went dark, as did many other services around the world. In fact, some of the AI services were interrupted. And some Amazon services were apparently interrupted. And Amazon Web Services, which is one of the largest providers of internet, what would you call it, tools, capability in the world, Amazon Web Services told their customers to migrate their data to other parts of the world.
Now, how convenient is it that banks have gone or went offline? How many times recently have different bank institutions been totally thrown offline? Now, we know that BlackRock is preventing on people to get only 5% of their earnings out. They are putting a lock on anything above 5%. Is that just for you regular smuggler folks? Are they doing this for these millionaires and billionaires as well? They always say these banks are trying to prevent a run on the banks and all of this type of stuff. You better get in control of yourselves. You better get in control of yourselves. If you are thinking that you are going to be able to go to these ATM machines when this world starts shutting down, when the value of this dollar is going to be obviously losing losing potency, losing its meaning, losing its cost, losing its value. If you think you're going to continue to be able to go and get money out of ATM, things are really about to change in the United States. And I don't know how many people are really taking this seriously, but I suggest that you actually take this seriously. Other nations are already rationing water and power. What are you rationing? Are you rationing any water? Are you saving any water? Oh, are you? Do you know even the proper containers that you must have to save water in? Are you using plastic to save things that food grade substances are not supposed to go in? Are you saving water in clear containers where your water would be able to be contaminated? If your water is contaminated, do you have any thing that could sanitize your water? Huh? What are you doing? What are you doing? Are you getting things? Do you know how much the average person needs? About eight gallons of water a day. You know how much water an average person needs a day? Do you know any of these things? And are you preparing for any of these things? Are you just running around being silly and stupid? And ordering Uber Eats and ordering from Amazon, waiting on Amazon packages. Are you doing any of these things? Well, other countries are. Other countries are. But your for profit media has not alerted you to do any of these things. But the wealthy have already done these things. The wealthy are not worried about it. The wealthy have places to store their wine at the right temperature, to store their artwork at the right temperature, to actually grow plants in their bunkers. What are you prepared for? You prepared to die? Are you prepared for that? Are you prepared to fight? Are you prepared for that? Or are you prepared to be? Are you just unprepared? And are you just going to be a piece of victim meat out here? Now, there are reports. Where was it? There are reports over in, I believe it's Pakistan, that there are already a lot of uncivilized things happening. Civilization is kind of breaking down. People are not living by the norms. People are kind of being combative about gas. About gas. People are breaking the norms and stuff. Now, can you imagine that many people have no idea that there is about to be a food shortage? No matter what happens tonight, there is about to be a food shortage. What have you prepared for in this food shortage? What are you doing? Are you sending your money to Cash App YouTubers? Is that what you're doing with your money? What is the YouTuber giving you to help you sustain you and how you live your life? Huh? What are these YouTubers doing to help you live your life and sustain some type of living condition for yourselves? What are you doing? Okay, let's continue.
It turns out that the reason why Iran targeted Amazon in Bahrain and the UAE was because their servers were providing the U.S. military with AI capability. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. A single ChatGPT query, if you go into ChatGPT and you say, what's the best restaurant in Portland where I can find, vegan food? In a couple of seconds, you'll get an answer. And that typical ChatGPT query takes about 0.3 watt hours of energy. That's 0.3 of a watt. Not even 1 watt. Right? The old incandescent light bulbs, they were 60 watts. So you could do, 180, about 200 queries and use the same amount of electricity as one light bulb. So it's not a lot of power. People are like, I published a piece over on Daily Kos this morning, and there's a picture that Louise did using an AI product. And some wag comes on and goes, you shouldn't have Louise make these pictures with AI. It uses so much resources. Well, it turns out most of the resources that are being used by AI are for our military. I mean, this is pretty amazing. This is the Dre dossier over on Substack asking, so why is Amazon building a campus in Indiana that will consume 2.5 gigawatts of electricity, roughly equivalent to powering half the homes in the entire state? Why is Meta planning a facility in Louisiana drawing 5 gigawatts? That's 5 billion watts.
That mega plant in Louisiana, the port in Louisiana, and this is what they are spending their money on in Louisiana. The plant is supposed to be the same size as Manhattan altogether in Louisiana, where people can't even afford to pay their power bill, and their power bills are expected to increase because this billionaire company that is building a plant of the size of the island of Manhattan, but they are not able to help living beings that live there. Let that sink in. Let's continue.
When a ChatGPT query is 0.3 of a watt, right? Why are they doing this in New York City? Why is OpenAI's Stargate facility in Abilene, Texas, already running at 200 megawatts and scaling toward 1.2 gigawatts? And then Dre Dossier writes, this only makes sense when you understand who the actual customer is. The military AI market is growing from $9.2 billion in 2023 to nearly $39 billion by 2028, a 33% annual growth rate. The Pentagon just awarded a $9 billion contract in 2020 to AWS, Google, Microsoft, and Oracle. And the Pentagon has also announced plans to build AI data centers on 4 military bases. Now, this is where it gets interesting. They write, when you see a gigawatt data center going up in rural America and the company won't tell your mayor what it's for, you are allowed to ask the question. I mean, maybe it's the training for the next generation of consumer AI, or maybe it's training the system that just helps select targets in Iran. The point is you don't know, and nobody is legally required to tell you. Now, here's where it gets totally wild. The Geneva Conventions, they were ratified in 1949, updated in 1977. And the additional protocols from 1977 include one called Article 52, parenthesis 2. This is of additional protocol number 1. And it notes that once a civilian object becomes a lawful military target, a civilian object becomes a lawful military target the moment it makes a, quote, effective contribution to military action. So, in other words, the minute that the Pentagon starts running their programs on Amazon's AWS data servers in Bahrain and the UAE, those servers, even though they have, your order for, when you
Those servers become military targets, as much as your servers that are all across the United States that they are building under NDAs and all of that stuff, not doing planning meetings, doing it under the cover of darkness, planning boards not giving the citizens a vote on these data centers in many states. Many people have caught on to this, but a lot of people don't know that if these data centers are using these if these data centers are using any military technology or doing anything for the military, they are actual military targets wherever they are. Now, we're waiting until 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is expected that either Israel or America is thinking or would likely strike Iran with a nuclear weapon because to bring them back to brimstone, it appears to bedrock or whatever he said is the only way he would be able to do this. He has tried everything. He has ranted and he has cried, and it just nothing is working. Now, Iran has given its final message on the Strait of Hormuz last night. Your president had his doomsday plane flying around that can, it's like a flying pentagon that can protect who's ever in the plane just in case there's a nuclear strike. We know that your president was choking out on the fact that Iran is not doing and following his demands. We also know that president is not negotiating with anyone. He's changing the days of hell on earth and praise be to Allah. It was supposed to have been on yesterday. Now it's supposed to be today. It was supposed to be 5 days ago. No, and it was supposed to be in 48 hours before it became 5 days ago, before it became 10 days ago, which was yesterday, but before it became today. So we know that Trump is not negotiating in effect with anyone. We understand that the only person who is hurting is Donald Trump because he is in a position where he has written a check his ass can't cash. You know that thing that they tell you to never write a check that your ass can't cash. So we may be surely the United States is going to be you know on the hook for all of this bullshit that this demented, in my opinion, president and this unqualified Pete Kegbreath has done. And you better pray that you don't die. You better pray that your family members don't die. You better pray that you understand that we are in a different time in this world. Things are about to change in this world. You have been warned about this many a times. If you don't pay attention to what the rich are doing to protect themselves, if you don't notice who build bunkers, remember people are hillbillies, all them old crazy hillbillies. Those are the people who are building bunkers. Now, y'all ain't noticed that these billionaires are building bunkers, mansion bunkers. But y'all not paying attention. Okay, a whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. I don't want that to happen, but it probably will. However, now that we have complete and total regime change, where different, smarter, and less radicalized minds prevail, but who is the radicalized mind when you have the highest ranking military that is left in the army are telling our soldiers that you are doing God's will and preaching to them from the Bible about this mission being something godly and the will of God. When you had Pete Kegbreath sit up there and describe the saving of that a person who was shot down, describing the event as Jesus being dying on the cross and rising again. That's how he described the fact that they saved the downed pilot, who would not have been downed in the first place if we were not in this illegal war. So are we going to pretend like, yeah, it is great that he was found, but it's horrible that he was out there getting shot down in the first place, because nothing about this is legal. All of these are war crimes, that he got shot down in the midst of doing something that is against the law. This is a war that was not sanctioned by Congress, period, point blank. There's no other way to say it. There's no apologizing for any of this. Nobody wants military personnel to lose their lives behind following the orders of fools. Let's be real clear. Okay. Who's radicalized? Who's radicalized? Your president who said, open the fucking straits, you bastard. All hail to Allah. The blasphemy. Who are the radicals? Huh? Who are the radicals? Trying to hide behind Christianity as they do illegal and foul shit, taking the lives of innocent people and trying to make you believe that there's a reason, but they ain't came up with no reason for any of this shit that they are doing. Any reason that makes sense, they have not been able to come up with. And I am just so disgusted. I am just really disgusted with the rest of our government. Now, it's just not only 45, 47. It's all of the Congress people. It's all of the senators that are sitting by quiet. There should be uproar on the Senate and the congressional floors. There should be uproar right now behind this craziness. Okay, let me see. Let me make sure I ain't missing nothing going on today. Let me make sure there has been, there has been no breaking news today. Let me be sure. Hmm. Oh, go over there and watch Sabby Sab if you want to see uh, her talk about Erica Kirk and her fake ass bullshit. It appears that Erica Kirk may have been a honeypot after all. Let me see. Hmm. Any breaking news? Vance caught running to Hungary for Orban's playbook. I read that to you. Also, uh, Pam Bondi has a class action lawsuit against her from all of the DOJ lawyers that she fired without any reason. There is, you know, that James Comey daughter is suing her, but over 100 DOJ attorneys who Pam Bimbo fucked over took their jobs from them for no other reason than that they were actually doing their job instead of doing her will that is having her law license reviewed by Florida. They have a class action lawsuit against Pam Bimbo. Let me see. Let me make sure I didn't. Oh, let's see. The acting Attorney General Todd Blanche holds a news conference. Shall we? Y'all want to see Todd Blanche lie? Let's see. Let's see what Todd Blanche is lying about. Hmm. Let's see what Todd Blanche is lying about, shall we? The loser, Todd Blanche, who is over the DOJ, who is the reason why, who defended Trump in his trial that had found him guilty on 34 charges. It made him a felon. The winner, Todd Blanche, who is now the acting attorney general. Let's see what he's talking about. He talking about the lawsuit against Pam Bimbo. Let's see what he's talking about. I have no idea. This is a just happened a few minutes ago.
Did an incredible job tackling violent crime. Attorney General Bondi did an incredible job tackling violent crime, drug cartels, and reforming this department. Our streets are safer because of Pam's vision and her commitment to justice. It has been an honor to serve with her, and I know that what she has coming up next, we will continue to hopefully be able to work together. Every day, Department of...
What she got coming up next? What she got coming up next? Okay, also PBS and PBS, a judge has ruled PBS and what is the other network? NPR have will receive their funding. You know how 4547 wanted to defund PBS and NPR. PBS and NPR has been ruled by a judge the ability to remain in business. You know, your president wanted to take PBS and NPR out of business and withhold their funding. A judge overruled that executive order.
Justice investigators and prosecutors work to punish those who commit fraud. For example, just this week, and it's only Tuesday, a criminal defendant was sentenced and the department obtained 2 additional guilty pleas in matters totaling over $500 million in healthcare and COVID fraud. If you think about that, just since yesterday...
Just this week? That happened just this week? Which means that these people were arrested in what week? What week were these people investigated and prosecuted? What week were these people investigated and arrested? If just this week they were sentenced. It sounds like these people who were arrested and investigated, it sounds like this happened under the Biden administration. Because God knows that Pam Bimbo didn't have any time to investigate people doing any type of fraud. She was too busy letting people out of jail who had committed fraud. She was too busy dismantling the fraud departments in her DOJ. So are you sitting up here cackling about people who were investigated and prosecuted or arrested under the Biden administration? They just got sentenced today. It doesn't seem like they could have been investigated and arrested and prosecuted in 2025 by this DOJ. Is that what you're saying? What are you saying, Todd Blanche? See, he don't think fat meat is greasy. This is a motherfucker who don't think a fat meat is greasy. He don't think that people can't see beyond the bullshit that he's talking. Just because he's moving his slitted lips. He think people are crazy. That's why he sashayed his ass up into a court and the black attorney well, this is Letitia James. The black attorney general of the Southern District of New York, and Alvin Bragg, the black man over the Southern District of New York. That's why they took their cocky asses in there and thought that they were going to win. Oh, it's just a black woman and a black man over this whole division. And they got their asses whacked. Now he's sitting up here. He can't even purse the lie out of his mouth correctly. And that's why today people were charged and they were sentenced to their crime. Who prosecuted? Who investigated them? Who arrested them? When did this happen? Under what administration did any of this happen?
2 additional guilty pleas in matters totaling over $500 million in healthcare and COVID fraud. If you think about that, just since yesterday, we had a guilty plea in a $160 million healthcare enrollment fraud scheme and a sentencing in a $100 million COVID-19 fraud and a guilty plea in a $160 million healthcare fraud scheme as well. Each of these cases represents countless hours of dedication from the prosecutors and the federal agents and local law enforcement who work them. The Department of Justice is holding criminals accountable for stealing over $500 million from taxpayers.
Okay, so it sounds like he's talking about that Minneapolis thing. Now we know that was investigated, arrests were made, and prosecuted under the Biden administration. We are proof positive of that. So what the fuck are you sitting up here talking to us about? When did they have time to do? No, we don't know any of these things that the Justice Department is working to keep us safe, because we know that the Justice Department has been working to do 4547's bidding. That's all that we have seen from this Justice Department. The audacity for this man to call a press conference.
And across our U.S. attorney's offices all over this country,
What I want to know is you're talking about the great DOJ lawyers of all of these cases that you speak of that was worked on by a great DOJ lawyer. What I want to know is, are those DOJ lawyers that worked on these cases, are they still employed by the DOJ? Answer that question for me. Answer that question. Of all of these great DOJ lawyers that tracked down and investigated these cases, how many still work for the DOJ? Since you want to talk about those great lawyers, are any of those great lawyers that tracked down all of these criminals who committed crimes and stole all of this money, are any of those great DOJ attorneys a part of this class action lawsuit for being fired wrongly for no reason? Are any of them part of this class action lawsuit? I want to know.
currently have over 8,000 fraud matters underway. Unfortunately, as you've heard a lot about recently, because it's true, these cases represent a fraction of the fraud ripping off our country every day. Thanks to the leadership of President Trump, this department, working closely with the task force to eliminate fraud, is supercharging efforts to take down every fraudster and bring them to justice. I want to thank the Vice President and Anti-Fraud Task Force Chair Andrew Ferguson for their focus on this issue and for empowering this department to go after criminals who steal from the government like never before. Our goal is to prevent this from ever happening again. Because of this administration's leadership, fraudsters, scammers, tax cheats, or anyone who lies to get rich off the generosity of the American people should be on notice. Now, this isn't new for this department. We have a storied history of combating fraud and bringing criminal actors to justice. But the department has never adopted a comprehensive and coordinated approach to investigating and prosecuting fraud against taxpayer dollars and taxpayer-funded programs. With over $1 trillion at stake every single year, threatened by increasingly sophisticated and opportunistic fraudsters, the time for this comprehensive and coordinated approach is now. And so today, I'm proud to announce in greater detail the
Oh my goodness. I apologize. I don't know what's going on with StreamYard. I am going to have to finish that boring ass Todd Blanche on my own time. What the heck he was talking about? I will finish that on my own time. I want to just remind you guys to get you some non-perishable food. Get you some clean water and store it in some containers that it will not go bad. Get you some water, uh, purifying pills, just in case you have to purify your water. Get you a solar powered generator. Uh, Blue Yeti has a lot of solar power generators running from around two 279 to over $4,000. Get something that will ensure that you will not lose power. Make sure you keep you some small denomination of cash somewhere hidden on you. You never know when you will have to go out amongst people who have not prepared for what is coming. Because surely, if you did not know last night, your administration prepared for what is coming. They took their doomsday plane that they used during nuclear strikes out for a little jaunt yesterday. So I appreciate all of your support. Please give me the thumbs up. I'm not saying what is going to happen tonight. I'm just saying I would not put it past either of these war criminals that have already committed war crimes and are telling you in advance that they're going to commit more war crimes. So, what I'm saying is, uh, at all costs, protect your neck because we see that 45, 47 has not protected his. Protect your neck and um, make sure you be safe out here, and make sure you act like you know. Let's make sure you act like you have a good sense and prepare yourself. All right, guys. Uh, I would suggest that you check out and make sure you get a little bug out bag. Make sure you get a bug out bag. You don't know what a bug out bag is? It's going to be a lot of people bugging out. It's going to be a lot of people bugging out. A lot of unprepared people bugging out. And why isn't your government giving you information on what you need to be doing to prepare yourself like other countries are giving their people information? Because they hope you bug out. Because they don't want to see you surviving anyway. If they wanted to see you surviving, instead of spending all of this money on wars in taking the lives of people who did nothing to you, they would have been making sure that you had health care instead of cutting it. All right, guys. Hope I'll see you tomorrow. If not, make sure you hit the like button, share, subscribe, and leave a note in the in the leave a note in the fucking place to leave a note at after the video is over. All right, guys. All my links are in the description box. I hope you have a wonderful remainder of your day. Bye.